had a little bit of a pre-show chat going on, and it was interesting because Gavin, you had a little bit of a rant recently on censored TV, and you were asking Anne her thoughts on why so many immigrants are being let into this country. And I know this is like a bit serious for Simcast, but I think you had an interesting theory, and that I've heard a lot of other people mention, and that is, are they just building an army? Because we're seeing a lot of military age men, not a lot of families coming through. It doesn't look like a lot of folks just here to pursue the American dream.
No,
So,
I think there's two options. One is they are going to be the security guards that tell us to put on our masks and shut up and stop criticizing the president and arrest us like they do in Britain and Canada. That's option one, and we've seen that. If you talk to anyone who's been in jail in D.C., it's all Africans. All the corrections officers in D.C. jails are Africans, and I think it's
hey.
because they're less sympathetic and they're just like,
Ooh.
you need to go back to your cell or it is voodoo. And then the other option is much more daunting, and that is we're looking for fodder for World War III, and we're going to just sort of throw this human garbage at the problem when we are at
Human
war with the Middle East, China, Russia, everyone. If this Israeli conflict exacerbates or the Ukrainian war exacerbates. So I'm not a big fan of either scenario.
Well, they do have that certain quality about them. I just keep thinking of that clip where the guy's saying, "Look at me, I am the captain now."
I am the captain now.
Can
I
I
am.
comment on that?
Please.
I think they're both too optimistic in a way, and or too complicated. I mean, we've never had a land invasion in the United States before. It's a great thing about our country. We're oceans away from the countries we go to war with. I mean, even Hitler couldn't land anyone in the United States. This is an invasion. This is how countries dissolve and are no longer those countries anymore. Other people move in and dominate them, and it's just a matter of numbers. And they just keep coming and coming. And the Biden administration wants them to keep coming. And I was mentioning this Mayorkas hearing. He's the head of Homeland Security, and he's the one who's ushering them all in as fast as you can get them in, with no concern for just this hideous child labor and human smuggling. You probably saw there's an article in the New York Times, I don't know, they've brought in, they've lost track of almost 100,000 children they've brought in. And they're turning up, according to this New York Times investigation, they're turning up at meat packing plants and cereal manufacturers are working all night shifts, and their little finger is getting caught in the machines. And the government doesn't know, doesn't care. Just move them in, and that's the end of America.
I mean, it was fun when they were just making sneakers and phones for us, but now,
Well, they were making them in China. Now they're making them
yeah.
here, but it's not America anymore. And especially as we've seen recently, I'm glad liberals are finally noticing. I mean, this is an all-out war of the civilized against the uncivilized, as we've seen since October 7th. And in our own streets, BLM just merges effortlessly right into the pro-Hamas. Yes, wipe out Israel, genocide for Israelis, kill the Jews. It's in a way, I guess it's worse in Europe, but we have more of every kind of third worlder. And no, I mean the only countries going elsewhere where Western values have triumphed are where British people went elsewhere. When Britain sent people to America and Canada and Australia. Never really works otherwise. So yeah, we'll lose our entire Western civilization, which is just stunning in its accomplishments, and we will be a third world country until there's no more reason to move here, because we'll be no different from any other country.
But Anne,
That
I
sounds
get
depressing.
that they're trying to wreck America, and that would make sense if it was just like a bunch of families from Guatemala and Mexico. But why is it 18 to 25 fighting men, men ready to go to war, and they're from Sri Lanka, Somalia,
Senegal, heavily Senegal.
like what? It seems like this weird variety of age-ready men. I mean, war-ready men.
It's true, but I think they are just the invading force. Men are more likely to get up and walk through 6 countries. They're walking through 6 countries, which among the many ways the Biden administration is completely 100% violating written law by Congress, signed into law by president after president. For one thing, they're all supposed to be detained. It's very clearly so into the law. And when they pass through other countries where they could, in theory, be safe from the alleged persecution they're fleeing, and none of them are fleeing persecution, not one. They're all fakes. All of their asylum cases would lose. But even if they had a legit asylum case, they passed through 6 countries to get here. And those are the ones coming from.
Yeah, I guess you're going to get a lot of kids doing that.
Those are the ones coming from Venezuela, the ones coming from Senegal. If you have safe passage to another country, as long as that country's laws don't say, no, you absolutely can't stay here. And they don't. They all want to be, we're a sanctuary country, so they can, sort of insult the United States. Oh, you're so mean. We'll let them stay. Well, okay, under our law, they have.
Here, Ann, let's talk about something important. Is Ron DeSantis using lifters in his boots? Do you think that is he really? Come on, I know you're a fashionista.
You know what that reminds me of? You young pups are too young to remember this. I'm can barely remember this, but I remember when I was in high school and Ronald Reagan was running. They made a really big deal about whether he dyed his hair. And
whether he dyed his hair, really?
Even as a 14-year-old, I thought, if that's your biggest complaint, I think he's doing pretty well.
And do you think all the Senegalese people are coming here just to win the marathon, basically, and just take all the spots, take all the places? That's my theory.
They're winning those anyway.
I think we need more good football talent. Like, we've lost so many incredible quarterbacks. Like, there's no more. You don't have your Tom Brady's, your Peyton Mannings, any of that. So we're outsourcing talent for the NFL. That's it.
The great white quarterbacks of our time.
Are you in a sex dungeon? Where are you, Gavin? Where are you?
I'm in my kid's fort.
Is that an eyes wide shut zone so you don't do occultic sexual rituals in that room?
This looks so sus.
It kind of reminds me of that movie, the Flies, Silence of the Lambs. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, he's like in a well.
Oh,
Yeah.
or that
that
Cloverfield Lane.
Or it's like that movie Parasite, where you're some type of Asian hiding under a house.
This thing cost me $4,000, by the way.
The crawl space?
The wood.
The fort?
Yeah, you should see it. Here, I'll show you.
What's above you?
It's probably because of how expensive lumber is right now.
Yeah, that was part of it, and then just the lack of qualified contractors these days. Like, if you want something done, you
need an illegal immigrant from Venezuela. They do it the best. I mean, come on, Ann. Hey, you know, it's funny. I'm against all this immigration crap, but let's be real. I mean, they want as many immigrants as possible because it's a great reset. You know that, Ann. You know they're going to keep bringing people here so that they, have more voting power. You know that's a gimmick.
Yes, but it won't even. The voting won't even matter. The country is so done.
Yeah.
I'm so depressed.
And the fact that you can't get a good contract. I mean, this does remind me one of the evil things that the government and particularly the Democratic Party is doing to Americans is they keep encouraging all these young people to go to college. It's an investment in your future. I mean, it's like they're selling, those worthless mortgages back from 10 years ago. No, kids are going to college, running up $200,000 in debt, ridiculous degrees. I mean, unless it's a science degree, Or you have the money and you want to spend it on a history degree or a philosophy degree or English degree, but that isn't going to make you money. What we need is more people going into construction and plumbing and electricians. And those guys make a lot of money, way more than you're going to make being a genetics major.
Well, you
We
know,
learned
it's a
this from the South Park episode that just came out. The Panda.
yeah, and you know it's a scam. It's the only loan that you can't default on. I mean, it's the only loan that you can declare bankruptcy and you're still liable for it. So that's how you know it's a scam.
Yes. And the people,
You know,
the debtor,
what's
the
amazing
colleges don't have
thing
to,
about college thing
they
is
never have to
it's
pay.
a boomer thing.
I went to college. I became a transgender lesbian
college
really quick. So I'm
Hold on, Gavin, don't be upset that we didn't acknowledge your fort. It was very impressive.
Yes,
Yeah,
make it your-
Ann was talking about going to
Fine,
college,
fine.
and as you're touring
Thank you,
it, and it
thank you.
reminded me of like a dorm room as she's
It
talking about
does. It looks
And
like
you're
a
showing like
loft.
the bed, and she's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Yeah, the kids are going to college," and you're
But
like,
here's
"Yeah,
the
here's
thing.
my bed," and it's really dorm room.
The whole popularity of college with millennials is based on a typo. It's boomers going, okay, there was rich people in the 70s and poor people. All the rich people went to college. Ergo, college makes you rich. And only 5%, back with the boomers, my parents' generation, only 5% went to college. So they went, okay, there's something magic in college that makes you
That's so
rich.
true.
So everyone should have the opportunity to get that magic rich powder. And you're like, no, dude, it's 5% of the population is super smart. It's like that whole classical music with babies thing, Bach for babies or whatever it was, Beethoven babies CDs. And they go, kids who listen to classical music, like babies, they end up like being more successful. And it must be the classical music. No, dude, their parents care about them and
Or
do
they're
stuff. They
Asian.
also had like the perfect yeah, or it's genetic. So the idea that college makes you rich is based on the assumption that genetics don't exist. And I'm sorry, but those people who went to college in the boomer generation would have been successful if you kicked them out of an airplane over Costa Rica. They would have had a coconut stand in 5 days, and they would have set up an Airbnb in 20 days, and they'd all be rich. So people should not go to college. You're not smart enough. If it's not STEM, then go to Amazon. Like I took English literature. I took like Dickens and all that shit. I could have just bought it on Amazon. It was a total waste of
Yep.
money. I'm a retard. I should have done what all retards should do, which is just buy the books for $1 used on Amazon.
Well,
Yeah.
they used to say community college is a daycare for potheads, but now all colleges are just a daycare for alcoholics and potheads.
Alex,
That's all
no,
it is.
that is the truest thing that's ever been said. That should be written in the sky. God should write that in the sky. Because we're talking about billions of dollars spent on the myth that college makes you rich and successful. It's a fucking lie.
And that was my mother's threat to me. She said if I didn't do well in school, she'd pull me out and send me to Nassau Community. That was like the threat for 4 years straight. And same thing, like she had that typical boomer mentality where college equals you're going to be rich. And she was a secretary, went to secretarial school, and she thought, I want this for all 3 of my kids. And whoops, well, I majored in
You might as well say
communications.
glasses make you rich. I'm sure people with glasses tend to have more money than people without glasses. So now we're giving glasses to everyone in the world, assuming that they're this magic eye lens.
Love you guys. Thank you for the chats. Thank you for the comments. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Bye. All right. Love you guys. God, I don't even want to leave. This candle smells so good. I don't want to leave. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye. Love you all. Join the Discord. Feet. Love you all. Wow. You guys are awesome. Bye, guys. Bye. Now I'm really leaving. Love you. Bye.